in a short first published in the Science and Sci-Fi magazine Almanac. In 1991, the Hugo-winning author Terry Bison gets right to the heart of the utter absurdity of the situation, that an organ made from basically the same material ingredients, nucleated carbon-based, mitochondria-filled cells, as say a kidney, is able to generate this inevitable thing called light. Bison's story begins with this conversation between an alien commander and a scout who has just returned from Earth to report the results of his mechanism. They're made out of meat. Meat? There's no doubt about it. He picked several from different parts of the plant, took them abroad or recon vessels, probed them all the way through. They're completely meat. That's impossible. What about the radio signals? The messages to the stars. They use the radio waves to talk, but the signals don't come from them. The signals come from machines. So who made the machines? That's who we want to contact. They made the machines. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Meat made the machines. That's ridiculous. How can meat make a machine? You're asking me to believe in a sentient meat. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. These creatures are the only sentient race in the sector, and they're made of meat. Maybe they're like the Orphora, a carbon-based intelligence that goes through a meat stage. No, they're born meat and they die meat. We studied them for several of their lifespans, which didn't take too long. Do you have any idea of the lifespan of meat? Spare me. Okay, maybe they're only part meat. Like the Weddelley, a meathead with an electron plasma brain inside. Nope, we thought of that. Since they do have meatheads, like the Weddelley. But I told you we probed them. They're meat all the way through. No brain. Oh, there is a brain, alright. It's just that the brain is made out of meat. So what does the thinking? You're not understanding, are you? The brain does the thinking. The meat. Thinking meat. You're asking me to believe in thinking meat. Yes. Thinking meat. Conscious meat. Loving meat. Dreaming meat. The meat is the whole deal. Are you beginning to get the picture, or do I have to start all over? It was some 2,500 years ago that the alchemist of Croton, an associate of the Pythagorean school of philosophy, who is regarded as the founder of empirical psychology, proposed that conscious experience originates in the stuff of the brain. A renowned medical and physiological researcher. He practiced cinematic dissection. Alchemist further theorized that all sensory awareness is coordinated by the brain. 50 years later, Hippocrates adopted this notion of the brain as a seat of sensation, writing in his treatise on seizures. I consider that the brain has the most power for man. The eyes and ears and tongue and hands and feet do whatsoever the brain determines. It is the brain that is the messenger to the understanding, and the brain that interprets the understanding. Although Aristotle and the rejected this finding, seeding throughout in the heart instead, today scientists know, as much as they know anything, that all of mental life springs from neuronal processes in the brain. This belief has dominated studies of mind-brain relations since the early 19th century, when phrenologists attempted to correlate the various knobs and bumps in the skull with one or another facet of personality or mental ability. Today, of course, those correlations are a bit more precise, as scientists going beyond the phrenologists conclude that 37 mental facilities are represented on the surface of the skull through their mapping with brain imaging technologies such as post-iron emission tomography and functional magnetic resonance imaging, which pinpoint which brain neighborhoods are active during any given mental activity. This is one of the greatest triumphs of modern neuroscience. This mapping of whole worlds of conscious experiences, from recognizing faces to feeling joy, from fingering a violin string to smelling a flower, to a particular cluster of neurons in the brain. Alright guys, so I'm not gonna finish the rest of that chapter today.